What is going on my wonderful people out there? It's your boy Dread Zero, and today I'm going to teach you guys how to read your opponent so you can take the information that they are giving you and use it to get more W's in ranked and wherever else you want to get those W's. Let's get into it. Okay, so as we all know, Street Fighter 6 can be a really offensive game. A lot of times you get so like tunnel visioned on trying to execute your offense on your opponent that you're not really paying attention to what your opponent is doing or how they're responding to you doing what you're doing to them. Because of this, a lot of times you can end up actually losing a match because you're trying to figure out like why didn't I do this when they did this, or I guess I just didn't like guess well enough. And actually there's a lot of like educated like guesses or hypotheses that you can use throughout a match that your opponent is actually giving you the information to. Your opponent is giving you the key, the information on how to beat them. You just have to take a second to actually observe what they're doing. So I'm going to give you guys 3 tips on how you can read your opponent and then start to beat them more consistently, because consistency is what's the most important thing here when you're trying to read someone. So the very first thing I want you to do, tip number 1, is when you knock down your opponent, whether it be like this or whatever the case may be, sweep, whatever, when you knock down your opponent for the very first time, the very first time in a match, I want you to actually see what they're doing. So when you knock them down and you go for your Oki, do nothing. And I know how crazy that sounds. I know how crazy it is, because in Street Fighter 6 you're probably like, well, Street Fighter 6 rewards offense. Why would I want to give up my turn like that? But the reason why you want to do this on the first time you knock down your opponent is because you want to see how they respond to what you're doing. You want to see how they act on defense. How someone acts on defense, especially in the first encounter, will tell a lot about them. So for example, let's say that here, for example, that I knocked down Luke with the Tatsu, and then, you know, normally you would just go for your drive rush, crouch, medium punch as Ryu, right? So I'm gonna set Luke to actually reversal on his wake up. So let's do that. So I'm gonna knock Luke down, and so I did nothing, and I know you saw me jab, but that's just how Ryu ends up like killing the frame so that he can do nothing. So that particular time, Luke just showed me that on the very first time that I knocked him down, that he was willing to reversal me. So now you understand from that first knockdown interaction that your opponent is not only willing to reversal you, but they don't want to hold any of your pressure. They don't know how to hold your pressure. And so by me doing this, simply knock him down doing nothing, I just got a fat punish on Luke, and I just learned a bunch of information on him. No, I didn't complete that combo. Ignore that. I haven't played Ryu in a minute. I just got a bunch of information on him. So not only did I punish him from doing a DP, I just learned that the next interaction after the first one, that he's willing to DP me. So I need to keep that in the back of my head, that this kind of player is willing to DP me. So I need to kind of play it safe until they show me something else. So again, very first tip. On your very first knockdown, on the very first time that you knock down an opponent, get your Oki, but do nothing. Wait to see what they do, because they can reversal you, which means that you just got a fat punish by blocking them, and you learn that they are not willing to take any of your pressure, and you can keep this going until they show you something else on all of your knockdowns. They're gonna try to tech, which means that if they try to tech, you just learn that you need to shimmy them on your next interaction, or they could do 2 other things. I mean, there's a multiple things. They could reverse super or whatever, but typically you either reversal, throw tech, or delay throw tech, mash a button. So if they mash a button, that means you need to use a strike in order to trap them from and stop them from mashing on you, or they can just do nothing and block, which means that they're willing to take some of your pressure so you can go a little bit further. And so step 1, again, make sure that on your very first knockdown, the first time you knock down an opponent, get your Oki and do nothing and see what they do. Now, the next thing I want you to do is when your opponent knocks you down, you do nothing. And I know it's crazy. I know this all sounds crazy, especially when you're in the midst of rank. You feel like you're going to get mauled if you don't fight back. But you have to think, if on your first knockdown, on the first time your opponent knocks you down, and let's say you go for a reversal or a mash or a throw tech, you're taking a huge risk because you don't know how your opponent likes to pressure you. You are actually guessing. So, and in those situations, yes, you probably didn't guess right because you don't know anything about what your opponent is doing. So let's say I'm going to record a sequence where Luke knocks me down and gets some Oki. Okay. All right. So Luke's going to knock me down. So I blocked there. The reason why I blocked there is because I needed to know what type of offense Luke wanted to do to me. And so by blocking, I was able to learn that in this particular instance that this Luke wanted to go for strike. All right, so this time, now that I knew the Luke player was on the first interaction that he wants to strike me on his Oki, he's probably going to do that again. So this time I'm going to reversal because I have that informed knowledge from the previous interaction. I learned what he'd like to do. So potentially I could go for reversal. Now you might not always want to take that risk. You might just want to hold it because you know he's going to strike you. So if he strikes you, you're taking less risk because like, okay, he struck me the first time on his Oki. I'm going to block again because I know that I'm a little bit safer that way. So you can kind of do your options based on what he did the first time. And that's kind of how you learn to read your opponent. So I'm going to have him do it this time. And so based on the first interaction, I decided to do a reversal this time. But I could have blocked because I had an informed, educated guess based on the last interaction that if he striked me, I would have been a little bit safer going to that because he's not going to grab me, right? And this is how you do on a lot of your opponent's knockdowns. Like on the very first time, I do this like every match, unless I fought the player before. The first time I knock them down, I want to see how they react to what I'm doing. The first time they knock me down, I want to see how they like to pressure an offense and do their offense. And the very last tip, the third tip that I want you to do is to continue to adapt. You not only need to watch the first time you knock them down and the first time they knock you down, but you need to continue to do so in each interaction for a knockdown. So the first time I knocked Luke down, I stopped, I blocked, and I waited for him, and he reversal. So now the next time, I know that he's willing to reversal me, but I'm also going to be watching to see if he switches up his options. I love to say that Street Fighter 6 fighting games in general are like a conversation, and you need to be paying attention to what the other person is saying. So on the next encounter, the next interaction, the next time I knocked Luke down, I'll keep in mind that he likes to reversal me, but I'll probably also I'll shimmy, because shimmy is a great way to not only protect myself from getting jabbed, because if I shimmy, I can stop a jab. I might get clipped by a crouch medium kick, but you can like walk back and like instantly block to kind of beat that. And so now I'm covering both options because I knew that he's willing to reversal me, but I also wanted to make sure that I catch a mash or if I catch a throw tech. And then let's say he throw tech the next time. Now I know that he might want to throw tech me the next time. You have to constantly adapt. And same thing on defense. If he knocked me down the first time and he did his Oki with drive rush, crouch medium punch, and I decide to block, the next time he knocks me down, I might block again. Keeping in mind that he likes to strike me, because usually on offense, people like to follow some kind of pattern. They like to follow what they've practiced. That's really strong in this game. When you practice your offense and you get into a flow chart, that can be really strong in this game. And so knowing that, he probably will maybe like 75% go for another strike. So I can confidently I have a 75% chance, and I'm just kind of throwing these numbers out because the chance is great. I have about a 75% chance for me to reversal him, and it hit because I know he's going for a strike. Then he realizes that I went for a reversal on my knockdown. So the next time he knocks me down, he might try to shimmy me. And me keeping that in mind, I just saw him do that. I'm going to change my option. And so this is how you read your opponent. You're constantly paying attention to what they're doing on your knockdown and when you knock them down. And the better at this that you get, the better at observing you get watching your opponent do what they do. You're going to start wanting to incorporate this into almost every interaction of the match, of the game. I just kind of wanted to start you guys off with something simple that could really help you at least add diamond up to about 1600 by doing knockdowns, because knockdowns are a very common focal point in Street Fighter 6 But eventually, you're going to move past knockdowns. You're going to realize that you need to not only pay attention to how you knock them down and what they do and how they knock you down and what they do on offense, but when I'm drive rushing in and they block, what did they do? Did they try to walk back on me? Well, now I need to crouch medium kick. You learn their habits by observing and watching how they respond to what you do, and I promise you'll learn how to read the opponent, and you'll have not only a actual just guess, because a lot of times we're just out here guessing, we're just reversing without even paying attention. Don't do that. Actually pay attention, so that way your next decision in that interaction is informed and you have a better chance of landing and getting out of that tough situation or pressuring them better. That's pretty much it. I just kind of wanted to do a little small video. I hope this kind of makes sense. This is one of my first times trying to do something like this, a little bit more intricate, a little bit more detailed about my thought process and matches. And this is how I learned, and this is how I started improving. So I really hope this was able to help some of you all out there. If not, I apologize. Let me know what I could have done better in the comments. I appreciate you all watching my videos. I appreciate all the love, and make sure you like, comment, and subscribe on the video. And with that being said, your boy be out. Peace.